end of last week's parasha, Balak, was like an old-fashioned cliffhanger. It seems that the grandson of Aharon HaKohen, Aaron the high priest, the Rodev Shalom, known as a pursuer of peace, his grandson Pinhas had undertaken, in the name of God, to skewer an Israelite man and a Moabite woman who had desecrated the holiness of the ancient sanctuary of the Mishkan. And for that, the plague, the pestilence that was supposed to befall our ancestors, was suddenly brought to a halt. And the beginning of our parasha, we learned that God rewards Pinchas by making him the head of the line that will continue to serve as the high priest for the Israelite people, as well as granting him God's Brit Shalom, his covenant of peace. Pinchas's violence leads to great recognition and rewards. And many of us are dumbfounded by that. We cannot understand that. It's not consistent with our conception of what God should do when a person behaves violently. And yet we can understand that Pinchas has brought some kind of zealousness to this action, and therefore he's deserving of being recognized as a leader. But our wrestling with that is actually echoed in the way the text is written. For in the middle of the word shalom, peace, the letter vav has a little crack in it. It's a broken vav. Usually when a letter has a crack in it, it renders the entire Sefer Torah, the Torah scroll, pasul, unusable. And yet here it's part of the text. It's written that way. It's even printed that way in most printed versions of the Torah text in Hebrew. The vav haktiyah, the broken vav, is a sign that the Torah itself is not comfortable with the recognition that Pinchas receives for his acts of violence. So how do we deal with the issue? Well, I'll tell you what Moshe did. In the course of the parasha, Moses wants to know who his successor will be. Apparently Moshe is so concerned that the popularity of Pinchas indicates that he could wind up succeeding not only Aaron, Moshe's brother, the high priest, but even Moshe himself. And Moshe is certainly looking for qualities other than the kind of hot-headedness or zealousness that Pinchas displayed at the time that he skewered the Israelite and the Moabite woman. But when we learn that Yehoshua, Joshua, is the one who's going to succeed Moshe, we understand from the text that in fact Moshe and God are looking for a different kind of leader. Rashi, the medieval commentator, explains that they're looking for a leader who can not only talk to those who share his passion and zeal, but a leader who can talk to anybody. Pinchas wanted to get rid of the sinner. A real leader is someone who prefers to get rid of the sin and find a way of communicating even with the worst of sinners. Living in an age where leadership is always an issue and finding great leaders is terribly difficult. And especially in these times when everybody's already talking about the next presidential elections here in the United States. We need to find leaders who can achieve the kind of greatness that Moshe envisioned for the person who would take over his responsibilities. As Rashi put it, someone who can communicate with everyone and can demonstrate tolerance for everyone, even those with whom he disagrees. That would be a sign of greatness. As a nation, we need great leaders. As a people, we need great leaders. So let's start looking, not for the Pinchas, who will come in with zealousness and through violence achieve what he wants to do, but perhaps a Yoshua, who can sit down with everyone, communicate with everyone, make peace with everyone, And then the vav in the word shalom will no longer make peace such a fragile operation. Peace will be fragile as long as it's built upon weak foundations. But with strong foundations, we can not only hope and pray for permanent peace, but be sure that there will be a strong peace that will bring blessings to everybody. Shabbat Shalom.